Hey Dunchbags, what's going on? It's Landon Remixes here, and it's a big one. Today I'm going to be talking about the new single from Porter Robinson, Get Your Wish. Porter Robinson, the American DJ, producer, performer extraordinaire, an absolute icon, and undeniably one of the most influential names in EDM of the last decade, not only sonically but in his visual presentation. If you're watching this, I'm sure you already know the whole story. Porter Robinson made huge waves at a young age for his distinct takes on electro house, which he called complextro, and bro step. Very quickly picked up releases on record labels like Skrillex's Outlaw with his iconic Spitfire EP, as well as Big Beat with his single Language Represent. But of course, Porter eventually got tired of the formulaic, DJ-friendly nature of the songs he was putting out and moved toward a different sound with his debut album Worlds in 2014, an album that was not actually received with overwhelmingly positive reviews from critics, but has nonetheless stood the test of time, now being looked back at by many electronic music listeners as one of the highlights of the last decade in the genre. Personally, though, I think the album certainly has some flaws. It's one of my all-time favorites, undeniably. I can still remember sitting in my car listening to this album for the first time and just being absolutely blown away. And clearly the album must have resonated similarly with a lot of other people, as Porter Robinson has been touring Worlds for over 5 years at this point, of course with a couple breaks to do the Shelter tour with Madeon, as well as the Utopia System tour as Virtual Self. However, within that time frame, since the release of the Worlds album, Porter Robinson fans haven't gotten so much as a solo single from the man himself. Of course, we did get his remix of Nero's The Thrill, which I absolutely adore, and the collaboration with Madeon, Shelter, along with a short film, and we did get the Virtual Self self-titled EP, but of course that was kind of a different direction, hence new alias. So of course, people like myself, and I'm assuming a lot of you watching this, have had to be very patient over the last almost 6 years for new Porter Robinson music, anxiously awaiting the day Porter would finally give us something to chew on, and that day is finally here with him dropping the bombshell news that we were finally getting a second Porter Robinson album entitled Nurture, as well as a new single, Get Your Wish. And I gotta be honest, at first I was really nervous to hear this song. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Porter Robinson, and I definitely trust in his ability to make great, moving music, but I knew this was going to be a major leap in some kind of new direction for Porter, so I think rightfully so, I was scared to see what that direction would be, and the Nurture announcement video honestly wasn't all that enlightening, being comprised of mostly ambience and keys. Judging by the video, there was a small part of me that thought maybe Porter would be giving us an ambient album, but I didn't firmly believe that. But about 6 hours ago, as of the time of recording this, all my anxiety about what the next era of Porter Robinson was going to sound like thankfully subsided, as I really have nothing but good feelings about Get Your Wish beyond, I guess, the artwork kind of looking like it was made in MS Paint. Get Your Wish is a beautiful, emotion-packed piece that sees a lot of different influences coming together in harmony, not completely unlike what Madeon did last year on his Good Faith album. If I'm being honest though, even though I really liked Good Faith, I feel like Porter has done an even better job of kind of keeping the things that make him on this song than Madeon did on that album. Sonically, Get Your Wish is very much still in the same family as Worlds, albeit with a very different instrumental palette. Everything sounds much less MIDI and made in DAW. There's more piano, more strings, even some math rock influenced acoustic drums all over this track. Also, rather than leaving it to a Vocaloid this time around, Porter takes lead vocals on the song, though with a heavily processed sound, artificially making his voice sound higher without using pitch shifting, very similar to what Eden did on Crash. And though I would definitely like to see Porter do some more straight up, drier vocals on the full album, I really like the processing. As of now, it feels like some healthy middle ground between the two voices we originally heard on Sad Machine almost 6 years ago. On top of that, the lyrics are powerful. It's obvious to me that Porter's songwriting has really increased since the last original music we heard from him. I read a bit into the story behind Get Your Wish, and in short, Porter says it's a song about finding a reason to keep going, even if it's not for your own sake. But for me, the lyrics of this song seem to really encapture the state of mind Porter had to deal with while writing this second album. Sometime after he debuted the Virtual Self project, I remember him tweeting out something saying he tried to make music that sounded like Worlds and then just ended up being completely uninspired by it, with lyrics like, I have to write the meaning of my life or else everything's in vain. Centrally, though, the song seems to be more about how accomplishing your dreams and doing the things you never thought were possible won't actually fulfill you in the end. When the glory tries to tempt you, it may seem like what you need, but if glory makes you happy, why are you so broken up? And then, of course, the chorus with Porter asking, so tell me how it felt when you walked on water. Did you get your wish? In my book, this is Porter kind of talking to himself, saying, you know, you've accomplished all these great things, you've toured all over the world, inspired so many people, achieved glory. Did that really fulfill you? It's kind of bittersweet, and it has an almost sad tone to it to me, but it is a really good reminder that we are not just what our achievements are, and that message pairs excellently with the sound that the song takes. More than ever, it feels like Porter really unlocking his true sound with different influences all over the place. Most notably, can hear a lot of Anamanaguchi influence on this track. Almost sounds like it could have come off their last album, USA, which is funny because on the album I said it sounded like what I imagined the future of Porter Robinson sounding like. The song starts off with the sound of a click track accompanied by some soft keys, and eventually building up into a section with those math rock drums that I mentioned earlier, as well as a nice little melodic synth. All of those aforementioned elements continue as the processed vocals come in for the first time in the track's running length, eventually building into one of those signature Porter Robinson build-ups. Reminds me a little bit of the bridge on Shelter even, and then breaks into this absolutely insane rock-influenced halftime section that could quite possibly be a nod to Sea of Voices, obviously the first single off of Worlds, and breaking down once more in the chorus for a little bit more of a dancey second half, might even be a little bit of hip-hop influenced. It's about as slow, I'd say, in tempo as a lot of the stuff on Worlds, that kind of flicker style, but with a shaker kind of filling out the space differently. It sounds distinct from Worlds for sure. The second verse mirrors the first with a very similar instrumental palette and structure, though this time with a greater attention to strings, with more violins and then possibly a mandolin in the background. And then the second chorus really being the emotional height of the entire song. The second half has a nice big piano line that sticks out. It might be a reference even to the more staccato feel of the piano on Language. And then the song, of course, ends very similarly to how it begins, with those soft keys and the click track. Like I said before, I really don't have any negative things to say about this song, unless you consider the fact that I can see some influences a little bit more clearly this time around as a negative thought, but I really personally don't. I do feel, though, that this blend of styles is very unique for Porter, and I'm really excited to see how Nurture kind of weaves in elements of other genres that he might enjoy. I can even imagine a lot of the stuff on the album being heavily influenced by other artists who were on the Second Sky lineup last year, like Kiro Kiro Bonito or Wednesday Campanella. And speaking of Second Sky, I have a strong feeling that this album is going to drop either right around the time of the festival or before. Back in 2014, Sea of Voices was released in March and the full album was released in August. So if there was a similar timeline going on, I can imagine the album would be released in June. But I suppose we will see. And really the last thing that I want to say about this song is that I don't imagine it, and really the rest of the album, being as influential as Worlds in terms of its sonic direction, but hopefully it'll inspire people to kind of take their influences and blend them together in a unique way that feels like who they are, because that's what Porter and Madian are doing right now, and yeah, that's something that I can definitely get behind. Of course, if you guys haven't listened to this song yet, or just need a quick link, I have the Spotify streaming link down in the description below, and if you have listened to this song and have some thoughts or opinions about it, make sure to let me know down in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and want to see more content like this, make sure to consider hitting the subscribe button, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave me a like. Anyway, I'm Landon Remixes, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.